Hey everyone, this is Danny Fraudemontaner and you're here for another EG Pro Tip series brought to you by MSI Notebook. Today I'm going to be showing you the many advantages and disadvantages and the many different areas and peaks that you can give when you're playing on Dust 2, on CT side or T side when it comes down to picking middle. There's many different angles and many different times and situations where you may or may not want to peak, and right now I'm going to go ahead and take you in game with my G Series notebook and I'm going to show you some of these many techniques. Right now, when you're starting off as CT, you want to make sure that you know that the terrorist is going to be looking at you and aiming at you the whole time. So sometimes throwing a smoke grenade will help yourself out a little bit so you can throw off the timing of the terrorist who may be, scoped in and waiting for you. If you want to go ahead and take some peeks through smoke, this one is very good too, because even though it's kind of faded away, you can kind of see guys that drop down middle. Also, you can try and wait for the smoke to disappear a little bit so you can peek down the middle and clear the top. But for the most part, if you want to go ahead and take an aggressive pick, if you have a good spawn anywhere in this area or so, you can just simply hold D, which is right, and once you reach this point, this whole entire archway, that's when you can start to jump. And you want to make sure that when you land, you're crouched down and zoomed in for the shot. And this is exactly how you would do it. Normally, when the terrorists are peeking middle, you want to catch them by surprise, and one of the quickest ways and best ways to catch them by surprise is by having the good spawn and doing the fast peek. This way, you can take that shot, and even if you don't kill, you can at least get away without being killed, because sometimes if you were to just peek straight up like this, you're just going to get caught because the guy is waiting for you. So with that being said, that's why it's also good to try and pick from different angles when you're trying to essentially be deceptive on what you're trying to do. If you pick close between the doorway, you can pretty much spot the first two common spots, which is this little tiny crack and the more common left spot or middle. The reason why this peek is difficult is because you don't have the archway to peek. So you're going to have to do some sort of sliding peek and make sure that you can aim at them. This angle is good because normally people like to aim in the middle, which would turn out to be about here, and peeking from the front will allow you to not get killed from the bottom, the guy who drops, which is one of the more common spots that people like to do too. And the same kind of goes with the top. You want to take different angles and different chances at peeking from either close or short or far, because you want to make sure that the guy is not aiming at you. Because if you make it too common that you like to peek from the top part, he's going to aim high around there, and you won't be able to see him if you were to peek low. So, and one of the main disadvantages of peeking as a CT is that they're waiting for you. So you don't want to essentially take these peeks too much unless you get the good spawn or you're feeling really confident that they may not have an op. But at the end of the day, I don't really recommend peeking from high up, because you can get seen and shot from every single angle, especially the drop down angle. And the reason why this makes it difficult is because now when you're peeking this angle and you were to let's say aim in the middle, you either have to flick shot down or flick shot through a tiny crack, or crouch down and get a better shot at the guy in the crack, or else you won't do any damage unless you headshot him. So when you're dealing with CT, you want to try and avoid those situations as much as possible, unless you want to do what I told you at the beginning, which is take little tiny picks through smoke and clear areas slowly, or take straight up picks, because you don't want to essentially walk into someone's angle when they're waiting for you. And Dust 2 CT side is one of the hardest sides on on any map. So you don't want to give the other team a free pick early on in the round. And by simply not peeking or cutting off angles like this, or cutting off the green box angle, will prove to be a lot more effective for two reasons. One, you can potentially get picks, and most importantly, the second reason is the fact that you'll stay alive and be able to help your teammates in different stages of the round. Now, I'm going to take you in terrorist side, because this is the way easier side to pick this, because you are the one that's there waiting, and you're the one that's having someone come into your angle. So now when it comes to timing, you're just going to basically be posted here, and you can choose this, which is a tiny crack angle, which you kind of have to take, you have to take your chances with either aiming in the middle and hopefully leg shotting someone if they go high, or head shotting them if they go low. But if you go in the middle where you can see either way, you're going to be more exposed to the CT who's jumping and peeking, or peeking from high up and potentially peeking from down low. So that's why you have to make conscious decisions on where do you want to pick. If you want to try and kill somebody that's crossing high up top by the rock, then you should definitely drop down, because now you're going to be in a more deceptive position where you're not going to be able to get killed all the time. So this is definitely a great spot to go to and take a shot when you don't have the risk of dying. Now, if you want to go and pick straight up because you don't think that they're going to have an opper, or you don't think that their opper is confident enough to peek you, then you can pick straight up, because this allows you access to the whole entire doorway, which my personal preference is always aiming about right here, this little shingle in the door, or trying aiming about right here. The reason why you want to aim high is because people, when they cross towards B, they always like to jump to try and be a little bit more deceptive in how they're crossing. But also, the main reason why I like to peek and shoot through the door is because if you're going to be aiming at the middle of the doorway, you're going to pretty much have to pre-fire around the time that you expect them to be crossing, which is, it's either hit or miss. You either kill the guy or you completely whiff on the shot, and you let them know that you have a gun. So my personal preference, and something I've been doing for a very long time consistently, is being able to aim through the doorway, because now once you see the guy cross from the middle, if he crosses about right here and jumps, you know that if you're aimed about right here, all you have to do is click. If you see that he just runs across or walks across, then you can aim down a little bit. This will allow you to do at least 40 to 50 damage through the wall, or through the doorway, which will allow you to, scare the guy where he can't play his B position as well as he potentially could with full HP. And also, if you were to headshot him, then you can easily kill him if you get a headshot. And it's pretty much all about predicting. And for the most part, these are the three most common spots: the main doorway, dropping down, and peeking from the tiny crack, which all give you different disadvantages and advantages. And this is why you need to try and learn every single position that you possibly can, and the outcome that can possibly come up from peeking from these positions. And this is pretty much all for peeking middle and taking picks on Dust 2 on T side and CT side with an op. Obviously, you need to try and be very conservative, but always taking risk will pay off in the end. And this has been an EG Pro Tips series brought to you by MSI Notebook, and you can check out more information on them at msimobile.com. And you can also check out more information about Team EG at www.myeg.net.